What's going on, everyone? So, real quick, big shout out to JNF Bergs for this comment right here. Talks about Myles Turner being a dark horse. Now, the comment about it not being able to re-sign him, that the Indiana Pacers wouldn't be able to re-sign Myles Turner, isn't accurate. They can re-sign him, but they can't extend him. So because they restructured his contract and gave him that 10% increase bump, as well as it being a 2-year, they can't extend him to a new contract, right? So they can't give him a new 4-year extension or anything like that. He has to hit free agency. Now, obviously, again, they could just re-sign him, let him hit free agency, and then sign him to, a bigger deal along those lines. But a couple factors that go into that, right? One, does Myles Turner want that? You gotta remember, Indiana, before this past season, Indiana was doing everything they could to get off of Myles Turner, right? He was going to be a Laker, right? If it wasn't for Jeanie Buss vetoing the trade for Myles Turner, he'd be a Laker right now. And to this day, there's still a real genuine argument that the Lakers should have done that deal, that they really dropped the ball by not taking Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, right? Because you would have had AD at the 4 full-time alongside Myles Turner with LeBron James. You still have Austin Reeves. You'd be much better matchup against teams like Denver and Minnie and all that stuff. But now, look, again, I'm sure that they will gauge this season and kind of see, where's Myles Turner's headspace at? Is he looking to go elsewhere? Or, does he want a particular amount of money? I don't think you'll hear anything right now, but as we get closer to the trade deadline, I do think that those reports will start coming up. You haven't really heard anything about Myles Turner because right now, it doesn't make any sense to trade him, right? You be patient, you wait. You can't extend him. So it's not like a Donovan Mitchell situation, right? Where with the Cleveland Cavaliers, it was like, hey, if we end up not being able to extend Donovan Mitchell, we have to trade him because he's leaving. He's walking, right? So they were able to get him on an extension. Myles Turner, you're not going to be able to extend regardless. He's going into free agency regardless. But does he want that, right? Is he like, hey, I'm going into free agency no matter what, and, maybe I'll re-sign, maybe I won't. Do the Indiana Pacers go, maybe we should get something for him rather than running the risk of getting nothing and losing him for nothing, right? That's the last thing Indiana wants because he has been so good for him. He was excellent for them last season. So, you look at the situation, and again, it's not a pressing need at the moment. But as you get closer to the trade deadline, and if Myles Turner, if they're kind of like, I don't know, right? Maybe he leaves, or let's say Indiana isn't performing like they did last year. What if they have a little regression? And it's like, do they kind of feel the pressure to maybe we should trade Myles Turner? I'm sure that they've had conversations. I'm sure they've had dialogue back and forth, right? But, things change. Opinions change, right? He could feel slighted. Now, you could argue he might feel slighted about the Lakers situation also. Right? He might look at it as like, hey, man, you guys had a deal done to get me, and you did it. Right? Paul George got caught up in his feelings. Right? Paul George was all emotional, still crying about it. Right? So, it's very possible Myles Turner looks at it and goes like, hey, I wanted to be with you guys. He said on a thing, if I was the Lakers, I'd trade for me. Right? He was very open about wanting to go to Lakers. Now, is that something that he can look past, like Jeanie vetoing it, and Rob can kind of smooth it over? Look, I tried to trade for you. I wanted you. We wanted you, right? Jeanie was the one that vetoed it, right? And it wasn't because, we don't want you. It's because, we wanted to be patient because they wanted to first and we're trying to fleece us type thing, right? Can you maybe soothe it over a little bit to kind of appease Myles Turner's ego, right? Because also you're not going to trade for Myles Turner if he ends up wanting to test free agency, right? You need that commitment from him, right? So if Myles Turner's like, hey, if you trade for me, I'm resigning. I'm staying with you guys, right? You don't have to worry about it, right? Obviously, again, I'd still have to hit free agency, but I'll resign. You got me. Not going anywhere, right? If you get that commitment, then yeah, you pull that off all day. You do that trade immediately. Whatever you have to give up, in my opinion, you go get Myles Turner, right? But if he's like, hey, no, I want to see what I can get on the open market. I want to see what I'm capable of getting. Now, if that's the case, then I think you wait till free agency Because that guy right there can renegotiate his contract. That guy right there could get you the money you need to maybe sign him, right? You're not going to sign him to a max. No one's going to sign him to a max, but you may be able to clear off enough to get to like 20 million, right? Also depends on what kind of trades the Lakers do. So, for example, let's say the Lakers trade for Bruce Brown, right? They trade for Bruce Brown. Yes, he's making like, what, 22 million this season. But next season, his contract is expiring. So he'd be needing a new contract. He's not worth 22 million. You're not going to pay him 20 million. He was going to sign with the Lakers for Gabe Vincent's contract. Now, let's say you have to give him a little bit of a pay bump, right? So let's say 15 million as opposed to 11 million, right? So let's say 4 years, 60 million is what you give Bruce Brown, right? Well, you just cleared 7 million off your books, right? Like, that's good. It's a good position to be in, right? And then LeBron can, like I said, restructure, take, 30 million a year deal or whatever if you want to go get Myles Turner, right? Like, if you pull off another trade that clears some salary, things like that, like there's options and flexibility there is the point. So if I had to guess, right, like if I, was like, do I think the Lakers land Myles Turner or not this year? No, I don't think, I think Indiana will risk, because Indiana could still pay him the most. So I do think Indiana will likely just go, you know what, let's just be patient. Right, let's just kind of wait it out, and if he tests free agency, we can always just pay him more than anyone else does to keep him around. Right, that's always a possibility. I think if the Lakers were to land Myles Turner, it would be closer. It would be probably next offseason, in which they would have to work it out to sign him. Maybe you're working out a sign and trade. Again, LeBron could do that. I mean, we could have done it this past season. Right? Maybe LeBron goes, hey, I'll take whatever discount we need so you can go sign and trade and get us Myles Turner. Right? Maybe we work out a sign and trade to go get Myles Turner. Maybe we don't even have to unload guys. Maybe we still go get Jeremy Grant and all these other guys. Right? Like maybe we do end up pulling off 2 moves, and then it's like, okay, well, now we can go get Myles Turner. Right? Well, let's go get Myles Turner in the offseason. We work out some type of deal, right? Something like that, right? So there's always the flexibility. There's always the possibility because LeBron's kind of doing 1+1 deals. But I also think it'll depend on, because I think Indiana realizes too that like we really messed up, right? I think that's one of the reasons why they paid him what they paid him, and they were willing to restructure his contract and all that stuff. And I think originally the intention was like, hey, if he walks, he walks. But now that we saw how good he was for them, and Indiana got to see how good he was for them, now I think the conversation is, hey, we need to keep this guy. I mean, again, you're just in the conference finals. He was a huge piece to that, right? Like it's in your best interest to not lose Myles Turner, especially for nothing, right? Because he is a legit two-way center. He's a guy that can stretch the floor, knock down the 3-ball, a guy that can protect the rim, block shots, rebound, do a little bit of everything, right? He is, top 10 center in the league at worst. Yeah, I mean, I think there may even be an argument for, top 7 in that range. So just because of his versatility, him slotted alongside Anthony Davis would just be chef kiss. But, I don't think that I think they'll take the chance, right? Because some teams are willing to kind of take the risk. Like we'll risk him walking when we can pay him more. But, and Indiana's definitely got to start. At some point, they're going to have to kind of figure that out. And look, maybe they already have. Maybe Myles Turner's already said, like, hey, give me 4 years, $100 million, I'm yours. Like, I'll stay, I won't go nowhere. Yeah, I still got to hit free agency, right? So we still got to play that game, but I'll stick around. I won't go, to any other team. I won't go to Lakers or anything like that. Also, you got to imagine he's going to want to win, which could benefit the Lakers too, right? Because, like, if he were to leave, the only teams that really have cap space next year are like the usual suspects, like the teams that are tanking. Like, so is he going to go to a place? Although a team like the Spurs make a lot of sense for him, right? Him and Wemby would be tough. But like, outside of that, it's like, is he going to Detroit? Is he going to these bad teams? Probably not. Right? He's probably going to want to go to a team in which he can win with. And LA, him, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, if they pull off a trade for a Jeremy Grant or something like that, like, That's pretty tough. Hey, a starting five of, say, LeBron, Reeves, Grant, Turner, or Anthony Davis and Turner, like, it's not going to be easy to beat that team. I think it'll depend on how things shape up, but I definitely think it's worth the conversation. I definitely think it's something that should be monitored and kind of looked at and go, hey, I'm hoping the Lakers are at least, kind of keeping an eye on the situation, because he makes perfect sense at the center position. But the Lakers, like the other side of that coin is if the Lakers do have to wait till the offseason, then that means you're going another season where Jackson Hayes is your primary backup. Now you're going another season in which it's just Anthony Davis. All right. So is that really the best course of action for the Lakers? Right? Or do the Lakers, because if you go and trade for Valanciunas, or you go trade for a Wendell Carter Jr., or you trade for a Walker Kessler, you don't have a need for Myles Turner anymore, which is fine. If you got Walker Kessler or Wendell Carter Jr., fine. Like, don't worry about Myles Turner. But if you go and you trade for Valanciunas, I'd rather have Myles Turner, right? If you go and trade for like a Nick Richards, right? I like Nick Richards, but I'd rather have Myles Turner, right? Like, it depends on how it goes, right? But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out, right? Like, patience is the name of the game for the Lakers. There's definitely options on the table, and there's going to be more, particularly as we get closer to the trade deadline. So can the Lakers stay patient enough to pull off that, right? We'll see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, yes, be patient, wait for Myles Turner? Do you think he'll end up leaving, or do you think Indiana will max him out to do whatever they have to keep him? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. With that being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.